Hi there and welcome to Chalk Session. I am your host, Brian Griffiths. This is the show here at the Duck Pin where we analyze and review and critique political campaign ads. So join us on this week's show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's take a look at this week's ad. This week on Chalk Session, we are going to talk about an ad by Gordana Schifanelli for Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. Now, this is weird, okay? There's nothing that's not weird about the Cox-Schifanelli ticket. You know, obviously, I endorse Kelly Schultz. The Duck Pin has endorsed Kelly Schultz, so bear with me on that. But you've got a candidate for lieutenant governor who is not on the ballot in her own right, putting out an ad during the middle of the legislative session. Now, part of this could be, I know that the Cox campaign is playing shenanigans with some of their fundraising legally. Mind you, I'm not suggesting that they're doing anything illegally. They're playing some shenanigans with campaign finance because Cox and Schifanelli have not formed a slate yet. And Schifanelli is running her own website with her own campaign finance operation. So that could be what's at play here. But the existence of this ad is weird. Let's take a look, though. Gordana Schifanelli for Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. The ad is called Law and Order. Special guest star in this one, too.
Marylanders live in fear. Crime in our cities is out of control. Our children are getting shot in gun-free zones in Baltimore.
Everything she said, by the way, is 100% true. And this the graphic presentation of that, this is really well done. And you know, it's a lot better than some of the other folks who have tried to make crime an issue in Maryland. Let's stick with it.
Marylanders need to support and fund our police officers because they keep us safe.
Something that the Hogan administration has been doing, by the way.
No parent should have to lose their child to gun violence.
And I love this, by the way. This is my favorite part. Not because Kim Klacik is in it, because we know Kim Klacik is generally a grifter, you know, looking out for herself. But it's the fact that right there on the screen, it says Kimberly Klacik, politician. And finally, it took Gordana Schifanelli for somebody to finally acknowledge that Kim Klacik is nothing more than just another politician. But be that as it may.
Baltimore needs strong and honest leadership. There is hope.
This, by the way, obviously is not anything remotely close to Baltimore. Generic skylines are one thing. I know that the ad is supposed to be about Baltimore. That looks, if I eyeball this correctly, I can't tell what it is. It looks like London, but I could be wrong. You know, it looks like there's a building there in the middle. I can't really show it to you. Maybe right there in the middle that looks a little bit like a rocket. But also it looks like it doesn't matter. The point is that it's not Baltimore. It's obvious. It's
Prosecutors need to stop making senseless plea deals with criminals who are then released back into our communities. I believe I can help bring peace to Maryland. I know we can do better.
Okay.
Paid for by Citizens for Gordana Schifanelli for Lieutenant Governor, Ann Williams, Treasurer.
And this is the only reference here. This thing right here is the only reference to Dan Cox at all. Dan Cox's name is not mentioned in this ad. Just this ballot designation, like vote thing where the box is circled in. That is the only mention of Dan Cox in this ad.
I know we can do it. Together, we can make Maryland safe again.
There you go. The first ad, if you will, from Gordana Schifanelli for Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. And we'll review it here after the break. Stick with us. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at this ad from Gordana Schifanelli running for Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. The visuals on this are striking. I pointed this out during the, during the commercial. The visuals are fantastic. It's amazing what happens when you get different people in there to do the campaigns for these commercials. I don't know if she's using the same people that Dan Cox were using in the beginning or not. This is light years different than anything that the Cox campaign was putting out early in this campaign, which is very, very good. The sound effects too, and the emergency vibe of this, and talking about how big police, and crime issues are in Baltimore. That's a really good thing. It's a very good message to bring on there. And I think it deals with it in the appropriate seriousness, which, the Cox campaign doesn't do anything competently or serious very often, but this is one of them. So I think that this was a really good job of doing that. There were, of course, however, a few negative things. First off, where's Dan? He's the guy on top of the ballot. You would almost think that based on what you're seeing here, that Gordana Schifanelli is kind of, going into business for herself and trying to make her the star of the show, which I can't imagine that ending well, but, she is not the person whose name is on the ballot first. She is a secondary figure. And, despite the fact that she talks about all the great things she would like to do, if for some reason she is elected lieutenant governor, she doesn't have the power to do any of them. The lieutenant governor's powers are dictated by the governor. And you can ask guys like Mickey Steinberg and Sam Bogley how that's going to work out for you in the long run sometimes. It's not everybody who has a good partnership with their lieutenant governor. And, I think that this glosses over that quite a bit. The second part is Kim Klacik. What the hell is Kim Klacik doing in this ad? She doesn't even live in Baltimore City. Come on, who are you fooling? She lives in Baltimore County, but she brought herself and her kids to some street corner in Baltimore with Kim Klacik. With Gordana Schifanelli to talk about crime in Baltimore City. Neither one of them live in Baltimore City. At least, as I said, somebody identified Kim Klacik as a politician. Something that she would probably be loath to admit herself, but be that as it may, a non-Baltimorean on a street corner talking about crime in Baltimore, as part of this ad is not a useful addition. And the second part is that it's too long. You get there to the end with that weird ballot thing with Dan and Gordana's name on it, and then we got more after that. And it's like, most people have tuned out by that point. So, 51 seconds is a weird time. It's obvious that the ad is for digital only. I don't think the Cox campaign, or Schifanelli, certainly have the money to put this on actual television, which is why it's a 51-second ad. It's not aimed at Maryland voters. It's aimed at people who like Kim Klacik. It's not, and that is not the majority of Republican primary voters across the state of Maryland. Let's be honest. It's advertising to a certain set of voters, and that's okay. Different ads are for different purposes. That being said, I think the ad is effective for what it is. Probably one of the best pieces of visual video that the Cox campaign has put out, or one of its appendages. Again, it's hard to tell right now whether Schifanelli's, working as part of the Cox campaign or if she's gone into business for herself. Either way, regardless of what you think, I give this ad a solid B.
That's all the time we have on this episode of Chalk Session. Again, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you have an ad that you want us to analyze in one of these Chalk Session videos, please feel free to email us at theduckpin@gmail.com. For all of us here at the Duck Pin, thanks, and we'll see you next time.